Good morning. Welcome to Morning Mindfulness with Joe. My name is Joe Clark. I offer one-on-one sessions. You can learn more and sign up for a free consultation at my website, jdcspiritual.com. The method we're going to practice today is called beholding. You could find this and other helpful mindfulness methods in my book, Soul, Supportive Guidance for Healing and Awakening. It's available for purchase on Amazon.com and authorhouse.com. Before we get into the beholding method itself, I'd like to briefly go over 4 touchstones of successful practice. These are principles you can turn to gauge how successfully you're doing your mindfulness practice. The first touchstone is commitment, resolving to practice. You can give yourself a little pat on the back. By showing up today, you've committed, you've resolved to practice. Nice job. The second touchstone is consistency, practicing regularly. I invite you to think of mindfulness practice a lot like fitness. Think about jogging, think about swimming. The more consistently you do it, the more benefits you're going to see. The third touchstone is flow. This has to do with the difficulty level of our practice and the level of effort we're putting into it. If we're trying too hard, if we're white knuckling and straining and trying to use a lot of willpower in our practice, it's going to be counterproductive. We're going to create a lot of stress and fear. So if you notice that you're grinding too hard, let yourself come back to a more sustainable pace in the middle. Likewise, if we're slacking a little bit in our practice, if we're letting our mind wander, if we're really giving the practice only a fraction of our attention, use focus to bring yourself into that sustainable groove. And lastly, and most importantly of all, before you practice, during your practice, and after your practice, be good to yourself. Be with yourself in the spirit of friendship. And one way to summarize what I just said is this quote from the meditation teacher Culadasa, which is that success in a mindfulness practice comes from repetition with a relaxed attitude rather than effortful striving. So during our practice today, I invite you to keep that in mind. Don't try to use willpower or force to meet the goal. Use repetition with a relaxed attitude. And last preliminary piece today has to do with posture. I invite you to cultivate a healthy, comfortable posture. A few posture goals you can keep in mind is letting your posture be aligned, letting your posture be balanced, letting your posture be open, and letting your posture be soft. So this method we're going to do today is called beholding. What this method involves is letting your gaze slowly and gently expand, like a blossom unfurling into the light, until you're able to see the full picture your eyes are presenting. When we tend to go through day-to-day life, we tend to rely a lot on our attention. We zero in on one thing or another. And this is useful. It helps us focus and get things done. The danger is if we do that too much, if we're constantly fixating and focusing on just one thing, we can get tunnel vision. We can lose perspective. We could become obsessive. We can lose ourselves into worry and stress. I want you to think of this technique I'm going to teach you today as a way to transcend that stress and worry, to broaden that tunnel vision into a broader vision. And when you do that, you'll notice that you're less fixated and less stressed on whatever's been bothering you. You feel more spacious. You quite literally feel like you're seeing the bigger picture. And then when we end that practice and return to daily life, I think what you'll find is that you're less hung up on that stress and worry. You're less fixated and stuck on that one particular thing. You feel like you remember really what matters to you, what's most important. And with that broader perspective in place, you'll be able to engage any given task in a healthier and more sustainable way. Now, to begin the beholding practice, I invite you to close your eyes. And as you sit there with your eyes closed, I invite you to notice something. Notice that with your eyes closed, you're still seeing. Your eyes are still taking in light. What you're seeing right now are the backs of your eyelids. And you may notice some light, even just faintly, coming through those eyelids. Part one of the beholding method is sitting with your eyes closed and noticing this often overlooked fact that with your eyes closed, you're still seeing. Sit with your eyes closed and notice this for a while. With my eyes closed, I'm still seeing. Now we're going to gently transition into stage 2 of the beholding method. What I invite you to do is when you feel ready, gently and slowly let your eyes open. And as your eyes open, I invite you to look straight ahead and to focus your visual attention onto one area or one object directly in front of you. Simply look straight ahead at one particular thing or one particular area, and let your gaze remain focused in that way for a while. Cultivate a focused, straight ahead gaze. Focus on just that one thing, just that one area. In this state of experiencing, we can recognize as attention. We are focusing on just one thing, one area. And we are focusing more on just that one thing and area than on the rest of our field of view. Stay with this straight ahead focus for just a little while longer. And now we're going to gently transition into the third phase of beholding. And I encourage you here as I give you these instructions, take your time, be gentle with yourself. So what we're going to be doing now is we're going to take that straight ahead focused gaze, and we're going to let it gently expand. I'm going to walk you through that every step of the way. As you continue to look straight ahead, let your gaze grow still. Let your gaze grow soft. And let your gaze gently grow broad. And let that gaze continue to be still, soft, and broad. And let it expand until you are seeing one thing, the full picture your eyes are presenting. Let your gaze become still, soft, and broad until you are seeing the full picture your eyes are presenting. I invite you to think of your eyes like windows. Before, we were looking through those windows at one particular thing in our visual field. Now what we're doing is we're expanding our gaze. So as we look out these windows of the eyes, we're seeing really one thing, the full picture those eyes are presenting. Stay with this for a little while longer. Let your gaze be still, soft, and broad till you sense that you are seeing the full picture your eyes are presenting. I'm going to say now and at a few points during this teaching today that this practice can be very difficult. So be very gentle with yourself. Be good to yourself. If you want to take breaks, if you want to disengage the practice temporarily, if you want to close your eyes, give yourself permission to do that and come back to this practice when you feel ready. Remember that quote from Culadasa: success is about repetition with a relaxed attitude, not about effortful striving. So take as many breaks and refreshers as you need to let yourself maintain those repetitions with a relaxed attitude. Returning to the method itself, what I invite you to do now is to sense the edge of your horizontal periphery. And here's a technique you can use to do this. You can take your hands and place them next to your ears, and then move your hands backwards and forwards. And as you do, I want you to notice that point where those hands disappear from view. That disappearing point, that edge, marks the border of your horizontal periphery. Think of that like the frame. And so when we're doing this practice, we want to invite our gaze to expand to the full edges of that periphery so that we're seeing all the way to that disappearing point. So take a little time now, use your hands on the side of your head, help yourself find that horizontal periphery, and let your gaze expand to that periphery. Sense that what you're seeing is the full view that your eyes are presenting from side to side. Experience that edge of your horizontal periphery. Stay for a little while longer with this intention. Sense the edge of your horizontal periphery and let your gaze expand to that edge. Nice job. Now we're going to do the same thing, but with our vertical periphery. So take your hands, go and put one above your eyes, one below your eyes. Let that top hand float up, let that bottom hand float down. And as they float, see where they disappear from view. Find that edge, that vanishing point, and mark that as the edges of your vertical periphery. And let your gaze be still, soft, and broad until that gaze has expanded to fill the full view your eyes are presenting, all the way to the top and bottom edges of your vertical periphery. Go ahead and do that now. Sense the full expanse of your view to the top and to the bottom, and let your gaze gently expand to fill that expanse. Sense the edges of your vertical periphery. And now what we can do is we can unite those horizontal and vertical peripheries by taking our hands like this and gently making a ring motion. You could picture like you're tracing the face of a clock. And what you want to do here is just let those hands drift around those disappearing points. As you're moving your hands, you should just barely be able to see them, if at all. And this will give you that circle, that circumference, that shows you the expanse of your visual picture. And what we're doing in the beholding method is we are letting our gaze expand to fill that expanse, to see the full picture the eyes are presenting, all the way to the edges of the horizontal and the vertical peripheries. And so as you sit now with your gaze still, soft, and broad, as you sense you are seeing the eye's full picture, all the way to the edges of your periphery, up and down and side to side. As you sense your gaze now, more like a sunflower that was wadded in the night, but now has slowly unfurled and opened into the light. You are beholding. Continue beholding. Behold, beholding. Use breathing and relaxation to help you sustain beholding. And it's natural for our gaze to want to constrict, to come back to the narrower focus that it's used to. When you notice that happening, you can refresh the intention to behold by repeating these mantras: still, soft, and broad, beholding the eye's full picture. Behold, behold, behold. Let your gaze grow still. Let your gaze grow soft. Let your gaze grow broad. Until you are seeing one thing, the full picture your eyes are presenting. Breathe and relax. Repeat those mantras as often as you wish. Still, soft, and broad. Beholding the eye's full picture. Stay for a little while longer in beholding. I invite you now to gently drop the practice. If it feels natural to you, feel free to bow your head. You can bow your head in gratitude to the practice. I invite you also to bow your head gently in gratitude to yourself. You've done yourself a great service by engaging in this practice. You started your day off on the right foot. I wish you good luck and fortune today. May you enjoy the rest of your day.